Hello everyone and wish you all a Merry Christmas, and I'm back with the Global Business Update with TA. 7 stories from around the world as always to keep you up to date. Well, China is grappling with the COVID issue once again. They are reporting around 1 million plus new cases and more than 5,000 deaths. And in fact, some say that the actual figures might be even higher than that. They took a very steep approach towards removing the COVID zero policy, kind of letting so many rules and regulations being relaxed, which has led to this rise of the COVID cases spreading all around China. And from China, how badly will it affect the other parts of the world? We'll have to wait and see. But overall, it really seems to be that as we start 2023, the COVID virus is set to spread worldwide again, starting from China. Meanwhile, the UK is recording a massive amount of energy bill rising, and around UK, as people are struggling to choose between food and staying warm because of the rising prices of heating the homes, the warm banks are becoming more and more popular, places where people can go spend some time in more warmth and also get some food. From January to October, the National Grid of UK has spent around $3.85 billion to balance the cost of the increased demand for heating. And as the winter gets even more harsher, the expected heating requirements will also be higher. And around UK, throughout the whole year up to October, they are witnessing something close to 80% of a rise in the energy cost. But some of the new regulations to cap the energy prices might help to keep that cost low until 2023 April. Now, Tesla, on the other hand, is also having a major backlash, especially due to their founders' hate wars or hate games with Twitter. That's right. Since buying over Twitter, we see that the Tesla shares have actually come down by about 28%, and their sales as well as their productions are not hitting the expected targets. Some of the recent polls among investors show the investors actually think that Elon Musk should step out of being the head of Twitter, and it's clearly evident that the share price drop of Tesla comes at a point where some of the other car makers like Volkswagen are actually seeing a slight rise in their share price. Also, the economic conditions in US and the high levels of inflation are simply not helping the cause either. Either way, Tesla is set to start 2023 on a bumpy ride. The emergence of global deaths are causing another headache for food supply chains, as three main grains, which is rice, wheat and maize or corn, is actually accounting for 50% of the global calorie intake. As some of the more traditional plants and grains are going out of use, we see that these three main grains are becoming a staple diet across the world. And as a result, when there are some of the global shocks like Russian invasion of Ukraine and even climate change, as well as the strong dollar takes control, more countries are being pushed into lots of difficulties with regard to obtaining the food that they need. Mind you, the Russian invasion of Ukraine led the wheat prices to hit over 40%, and around 20 countries have imposed export restrictions to ensure their own food security. And what this means overall is UN predicts that there will be millions of people being pushed beyond, or rather below, the poverty line. Somewhere more than 70 million people will actually be pushed below the poverty line because of these rising food prices. And most of the food prices are actually being traded in dollars, so a stronger dollar right now in the world is also adding to the problems at hand. But overall, more countries are now working towards finding alternative sources of food and trying to see some of the former grains that were actually quite popular before this unification of demand for grain around the world took place, if those grains can actually be used. For example, some varieties of peas might actually be easier to grow even in drier conditions. Worldwide, restaurant sales are on the rise, but the footfall or the foot traffic coming into the restaurants are actually going down. This is mainly because people are realizing it's cheaper to order eat out or takeaways and have them at home rather than actually going to the restaurants. Another surprising trend we see is, despite grocery prices rising, the demand is quite high for groceries, because once again, the noticeable trend is that people are preferring to get the groceries, prepare the food by themselves at home, since it tends to be about 3 to 4 times cheaper than actually going out and eating. So what does this simply mean is that more restaurants are having to drive new innovations, like McDonald's bringing out the new adult Happy Meal, like a nostalgic experience of the kids Happy Meal they would have had, and that seems to actually be working. So, simply speaking, when the prices are on the rise, more restaurants will have to come up with new innovations. No wonder Taco Bell is actually trying out some newer varieties of pizzas too, and all of this will hopefully drive more traffic into the restaurants in the coming new year. The IPL auction was held very successfully and teams literally broke the bank this time. It's been one of the IPLs with the highest level of spending, and Sam Curran, the English all-rounder, was sold for more than 18.5 crores USD, which clearly is the highest amount that has been ever paid for a player, and it was Punjab who actually bought him this time. He was closely followed by some of the other cricketers like Cameron Green, once again an all-rounder from Australia, Ben Stokes from England, and so on. A total of 167 crores was spent on purchases this year, making it one of the most expensive and extravagant IPL spendings in the history of the league. IPL is, of course, the second largest sporting tournament in the world in terms of the revenue and the spendings, and clearly the next season seems to be one where the all-rounders are all set to shine, especially after all those big money spent on them. And finally, more evidence on the rise of digital streaming channels and services. The famous Sunday NFL ticket, which is indeed the package that includes multiple different seasonal games of the NFL. Well, this time it was not to a particular TV channel but YouTube that bagged the rights for that. The exact information about the deal is not clear, but YouTube is set to pay around $2 billion each year for the next 7 years for the total package, simply going on to show the rise of the viewers shifting online, and also the sporting event licenses are also shifting to more digital channels. That's it for this week. And no matter what business you may be in, stay safe, keep making more profits, and I hope that the 2023 year will be a successful and a profitable year for all of you. Take care and a happy new year. I'll see you in 2023.